Partiful. Hello, Apple invites.
All right, I'll
Apple rhymes with Partiful. You could have just...
Not really.
Apple.
Bye-bye, Partiful. Hello, Apple. That rhymes way more than what you said.
It's missing a syllable.
It's missing a syllable, but it rhymes.
All right, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And this week, we've got a new Apple app that actually looks pretty solid. We're going to talk about why Meta is considering 2025 a make or break year for some reason. Pixel 4a update that's doing way too much for some reason as well. And also,
what is going on in the episode?
And we've got a new app in the timeline app category Adam is excited about. And then we'll end with a rant. We'll end with a rant from Andrew. But first, the biggest news of the week, the NBA trade deadline is coming up.
Sometimes news transcends, the niche that we're in.
It really does.
And I think we need to talk about Luka Doncic getting traded.
Absolutely unforeseen. I know, David, you probably saw this news and were immediately like, whoa.
Okay.
Huge trade.
Crazy.
The only thing that I know about this is that they posted it on The Verge, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, actually, that's hilarious.
Awesome.
But I didn't look into it.
Perfect. I figured we would explain it to you in other terms.
In tech terms.
In like tech terms.
Okay.
And then hopefully you will understand better how shocked you all were. Because I remember where I was when I found out.
Wow. I think I remember. I read it on the R Hockey subreddit. Like I was just on my phone
funny.
and it was like, how would you describe the Luka Doncic trade in terms of hockey players? And I was like, wait, Luka got traded?
Yeah.
I know him as he's a really good Overwatch player.
Just traded just means that like they offered him more money, so he went to a different team.
No.
That's signing.
So there are contracts and company owners. So here's the actual, let me find the actual trade just so I can make.
Yeah, while you find that, it seems like every niche of the internet is doing like a, how do I explain the Luka trade in X
So it's that
terms?
big of a deal?
It's a huge deal, yeah. So we're going to try and do it in tech terms.
It's just
We're a
one
tech
guy
podcast.
though, right?
There's a couple other things, but the main meat and potatoes of the deal is like one player for one player, and we're going to talk about
That's how they
mostly
usually
those two
do
players. There's all sorts of
I feel bad for
packages
the
and
other
picks
guy
and
because they're
stuff.
only talking about the Luka guy. Does nobody care
Yes.
about the other guy?
Well, we'll explain to you about the other. His name's Anthony Davis.
That's the first time I've heard of that. So,
He's like
sorry, Anthony.
an amazing basketball player.
Yes,
To be
he played
fair.
in the Olympics for
Yeah.
Team USA this year.
Did they win?
Totally dominated
Dominated,
team this year.
yeah.
That's
they
cool.
won.
Great basketball player.
Okay.
So
The thing is,
all right.
Yeah, the thing is,
Give me the.
top level like face of the franchise players typically do not get traded.
Doesn't LeBron move around like all the time?
LeBron moves around on his own accord.
He chooses
He doesn't
to.
get traded.
Is
So
he
he'll decide to sign a contract with the Lakers.
Okay.
And then now the Lakers own his contract.
Okay.
Wait, this might be a good point. The difference between like trading and signing
Trading and
as
moving.
a free agent. So like your contract
Yeah.
goes X amount of years, and if it's within that X amount of years, you go to another team. It means teams agreed on a trade.
And you have to move?
Yes. So
There's-
your contract can be traded.
Wow.
But if you wait till the end of that
chaotic.
contract and you go to free agency, then you get to choose if a team offers you money where you go. So this is a trade. Did Luka know about this? He didn't.
So nobody knew about this. So what I'm saying is like franchise players, like some of the biggest names in the NBA, you think like Steph Curry. Like when you think of Steph Curry, you think
Steph
of the
Curry.
Warriors. The Warriors will not trade Steph Curry. All of the fans would be mad.
Yeah.
All of the teammates would be mad.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, they won't like the fan. It would just be weird.
Yeah,
It just
it would be
wouldn't
weird.
work.
Right.
What's another NBA player you know? Just like a big name. Kevin Durant. Have you heard of him?
A little.
Giannis.
No. What about
Jokic?
Joel Embiid.
Yao Ming?
Yao Ming.
Yao Ming.
Okay. So he was on the Rockets.
Okay.
And he wasn't, he was a franchise player. Let's go with that.
Okay.
The Rockets
Yeah.
fans love this guy. They wouldn't trade him, even if you offered another great player. Sometimes they'll offer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players,
Okay.
future draft picks, a whole bunch of other assets, and they still won't trade this guy.
Okay, yeah.
Luka's that guy for the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. So
let's go to the-
he's like Steph Curry.
Yes.
Let's do the tech version of this. I think Marques brought up yes, no earlier, which is an old segment from Reply All. We're going to describe this to you in tech terms, and then we'll see if you can explain the severity of the trade afterwards.
Okay.
And see
what
that means. Can I go first? I have a pretty simple one.
Okay, so the trade is Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. There are a couple
I'm
other
going to do
small
Luka
assets
Doncic
involved.
for Anthony Davis and a first round pick.
Sure.
Because that is part of it. There was a couple other players. So, and I think what's important here is who initiated the trade. It was the team that Luka's on, the Mavericks.
They want to get rid of him?
Well,
They did get rid of him.
They
Well,
did.
yeah.
That was everyone's reaction.
So, what would your reaction be is if I have an S24 Ultra
Okay.
and you have an S20 FE and Galaxy Buds, and I said from the same year,
So you're comparing Anthony, whatever his name
Anthony
is,
Davis to an S20 FE, S20 Plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad.
And I
Okay,
come to you
yeah.
and I say, I want your S20 FE and Galaxy Buds. I will give you an S24 Ultra.
Oh. What would be my reaction?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Wait. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was thinking the other way around.
So, like, in my eyes,
because the Galaxy Buds are not that expensive.
they're not that expensive. They're fine. It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
The S20 FE, or I could even go S21 Plus, maybe S21 Plus, but like a phone that works totally fine for you.
Yeah,
like,
but S24 Ultra is like much better.
It's good. You know, we're getting to this point of security updates are 7 years for Samsung phones now,
true,
right?
yeah.
So like you're kind of as taking the old phone.
Is the security updates like the contract, 7 years?
I'm thinking of it as age because Luka's 25, Anthony Davis
25?
31
30
or
something.
30 something.
25 years old?
Yeah. So like I'm giving you
I'm turning to dust.
something that's it's going to lose security updates in like 3 years, but it's still a good phone right now. But you're giving me a phone that's better and also is going to get security updates for 6 more years than
Oh, you're talking? No, I would get that.
sorry, you would get that. Yeah.
I would get that. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Because he's 25.
yeah.
So unless he like breaks his leg.
Yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him. I have another version of this.
Okay.
I see that you have an M4 MacBook Pro. I would like to trade you my Intel i9 MacBook Pro and
no.
AirPods. What do you think?
No.
Come on.
Why would I ever do
It's
that?
pretty good.
Although this trade would be
not.
you
The i9 is famously a not good MacBook.
The i9 is Anthony Davis. It's fine.
It's great.
It's pretty good.
It's overpowered,
for
but you
most
got to
people.
cool him down.
Yeah, it sometimes isn't the healthiest.
Yeah, and the battery's gonna run out at some
And
point.
it's probably got a lower.
If you put it in the
future life
freezer,
ahead of
it works better. Yeah.
Yeah,
and when you first got it, it was like
The best thing
one
ever.
of the best. Yeah.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
The Fuji X100
There we
Okay.
go.
for the Sony A6500 plus a memory card.
Well, the A6500 at least it has interchangeable lenses.
It does.
But no.
It's a good
Plus
camera.
a memory card?
Plus a memory card.
Do I get to have a memory card in my own camera?
No.
You have to buy.
Well,
your
then it
own.
won't work.
You have to buy your own.
Oh,
You have
yeah,
to buy your
one.
own. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Wait, so why did they trade this guy?
The word on the street, I mean, because nobody saw this trade coming. This was a very, trades that are this big typically leak a little bit. Like people start talking about, oh, this guy is not happy with the team he's on. Maybe they'll get moved. Nobody saw this coming. The players didn't see this coming. The coaches didn't see this coming. The owners didn't really know about it.
Wait,
the
so-
GMs made the trade.
What's a GM?
General
Grandmaster?
general manager of the teams.
General
Which
manager.
essentially they run the team and the organization.
Okay.
And they quietly, these two organizations had conversations with each other, and no other team made the trade, and that was it. And typically,
That's
a
crazy.
big player like this, you shop them around. Like, okay, this is
what you can
everyone wants Luka.
Right.
Everyone would take Luka.
Is he the best player in the NBA?
He's one of the top 5 best players in the NBA.
And he's 25?
And he's 25.
Wow.
And if any other GM had known that he was available, they would have offered everything to get him.
So
I
was
guess-
this like a backdoor deal?
It seems like the only rumor is, he was scheduled to get a $350 million supermax for his next contract, and he's sometimes a little bit out of shape in the offseason.
Which I understand because he is top 500 rank in Overwatch 2. He is nasty at Overwatch too.
Wait, really?
And Overwatch.
Wait,
yeah.
he's top 500? How does this man have time for both these things?
How are you elite at two different things?
There's
That's
a lot
crazy.
of athletes who are really
crazy.
good at video games sometimes.
That makes
And I was-
sense.
There was a hockey player who got traded because they said he played too much Fortnite, but he's like one of the best in the league.
My argument would be Luka could show up with a pack of cigarettes in his mouth, and I would still take him because he's so good at basketball.
So my question is,
Yeah.
why didn't they shop him around?
That is
Great question.
everyone's question. No one knows the answer.
That seems sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah, just one of those weird things that happens at the NBA trade deadline, and more weird trades have happened. It's just one of those weird news headlines. that
Even if he
breaks
got
the
350 million, do you think he could have gotten more?
So that's the supermax
That's the
that
max,
you're
yeah.
eligible for when you play with a certain team for a bunch of years in a row. So he's been on Mavericks his entire career, and
How long
he would
is
have
his
been
entire
up
career?
5 years so far, and he would have been
He
eligible
started
for
at 20 years old in the
Yeah.
NBA.
yeah, and a top draft pick, and would have been eligible for the most expensive contract in NBA history. Which honestly, you pay the man; he's worth it. But for some reason, they didn't feel like paying him.
Wow.
I'll throw one more tidbit out there. The Mavericks just announced that they're refunding season ticket holders who are mad enough.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
dude.
There were like people with signs outside of the stadium.
No way, really? Wow.
Look, there's a reason the Lakers said yes. Well, okay,
Oh, he got
yeah.
traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, so the Lakers got Luka, and
Oh.
look, if you're the Lakers and you have Anthony Davis, and somebody calls and goes, "Hi, we'd like Anthony Davis," you're like, "No," and they're like, "We'll give you Luka." They're like, "He'll be on your front step tomorrow." Yes, of course.
I'll personally
Do the
drive him.
Lakers still have LeBron?
Yes.
Yes.
And so you know who LeBron is. That's important. I think everyone knows LeBron, and LeBron's one of the faces of the league, and he's 40, and he's been one of the legends of the game forever. He's probably got 1, 2, 3 more years left, and the Lakers looking forward to their future. We're like, when
makes
this guy's
sense.
gone, who do we have?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And the Lakers have always been a very famous team.
They've always had some franchise face,
Right.
Whether it's Kareem or Kobe or Shaq, like they just now it's
Right.
LeBron, and who are they going to have?
But
Luka.
This is like the Lakers looking forward and being like, who can we have? And then someone knocks on their front door and hands them a briefcase full of money. Just like they didn't even go out looking yet.
Yeah.
And it just came to them.
So now, just to test your understanding, just to make sure you understand the trade.
Okay.
Can you explain the Luka AD trade in Pokemon trading cards?
Do I have to explain how the game works?
No, you just have
we
to
might be
just
going
like
too
Okay,
This
it's
card for card.
It's like trading Golem, who's very good, for who else is like pretty good?
I feel like it's almost like trading
Pikachu
If we're talking
EX.
just about like strength in battling, like
Pikachu EX.
Golems, I would say like Charizard EX because Charizard's the big flashy, like bright card that everyone wants. But in terms
Right.
of battling, it's not really that good because you have to evolve
Right.
so much.
That's a great
first
card,
level
yeah.
Charmander's
You have
not
to evolve
very
Golem
good.
a lot too.
You do, but
And
it's so much
Geodude and
easier to-
Graveler are not very good cards.
The new Graveler's not.
Maybe
too
this was a
bad.
bad.
Graveler has 40 damage.
This went
and
way down the
What are they
rabbit
talking
hole.
about?
They have so much health though, and you just play Druggadon.
I mean,
first,
it's
and then-
100 health. It's not like a ton, you know?
But anyway,
I think that's a salad.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll say that.
Well, and just real quick, well, okay, done with NBA. If you want to come back to the tech podcast, we're here.
We're back.
Did you pull anything good in the new packs?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I did one of the, I saved up a bunch of hourglasses and did one of the 10 cuts at once, which was a bad decision.
Always
Don't
is.
do
I
that.
remember that
Delayed
last time.
gratification, my friends, is worth it always. They have this option where you can just open 10 packs at the same time and it's just like super fast and it's lame.
So I completely disagree.
Wow.
Because that is how I play basically every game. I just hoard all of my gold until I can buy
see.
everything.
That's like
all
so
at
not
once.
fun though. The progression isn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like hard. Now you're super overpowered.
and then I'm awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
doing all the side quests before you go after the first boss, and then just one shot them.
Yeah. I don't know. I've gotten a lot of cool cards. Yeah.
I don't know this one as well. I think I got one good like what's like immersive dragon type guy or like
I didn't get an immersive card.
brontosaurus kind of guy. But then I also got one like that looks like a lawnmower, and I just don't
It's
know what
Rotom.
Pokemon's doing anymore.
In the 4th generation, there's this Rotom Pokemon. It's an electric ghost Pokemon, and he goes inside household appliances.
Guess what is happening?
All the Rotom cards are bad, but they're cute and fun.
Okay.
So I think that's the point of them.
Same.
I'm just gonna cut this off
okay, yeah,
right
okay.
here.
Thank you.
Anyway, so yeah, Luka and AD got traded. A whole bunch more trades are happening. NBA deadline. All sorts of fun stories there. Anyway, this is a tech podcast, allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, there is an interesting tech story that I didn't find out about until today. That is plaguing Pixel 4a. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
You know who you are.
So Pixel 4a, a couple years old, but apparently Google has started pushing a software update to it that has dramatically lowered the battery capacity by up to 40%.
Yeah.
Now, reading this headline
44.
seems kind of insane. Like, why would that happen?
Yeah.
And so if you go back, it seems to read that there was some sort of battery issue starting to pop up with old Pixel 4a's, and probably enough of them started to pop up that Google saw a trend/pattern, and just to be safe, decided to just nip it in the bud and dramatically lower the charging capacity for Pixel 4a's for everyone who owns them.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer if you own one, because now your phone has a little over half the battery it just did the day before that update got pushed.
Yeah.
But at least it won't explode now.
Yeah. Google has been very vague about why they're pushing this update, but they said it was apparently related to battery concerns. But every single thing that they did indicates that these batteries were probably going to blow up.
It'd just be a safety concern. You just don't want a safety concern.
Yeah, they noted it as a emergency maintenance release, and they cut the voltage of the battery from 4.45 volts to 3.95 volts, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that cuts the usable charge down by about 44%, according to testing from Android Authority. So
Has anyone checked on the 4A 5G? Didn't it also come out at the
big
same
one?
time? The
yeah,
big
but
one?
it might have just been that specific battery cell. They are also offering free battery replacements, Google Store credits, and a cash payment of $50. So it seems like they're really trying to motivate people to swap out their battery.
Do we have a 4A?
Probably.
I don't think so.
I thought we had every Pixel.
Yeah, we do.
We might.
I'm going to go check and see if our 4A is doing anything
I
weird.
loved the 4A.
Yeah,
It was
me
such
too.
a good phone. It was $350.
Do you want to go look? I think it's on top of the cabinet or the bottom.
It's
I'll
probably-
check after the pod.
Okay,
I'll check
somewhere.
after.
Okay.
And if there is anything weird about it, I will insert a clip.
It's definitely
Yeah.
not on fire.
Well,
Well, unless it happened in
theoretically.
the last 30 minutes. But
Some other crazy things about this update also gets rid of the adaptive charging feature if you didn't have it on before. And if you, the battery indicator in the status bar, you can either just have the picture of the battery draining or the actual number. If you didn't have the number on before, it gets rid of the option to even have the number on, which is crazy, which is just, it seems like Google is very afraid of these phones.
Yeah.
If you have a Pixel 4a, let us know if you got this update or if you've noticed anything weird about your phone.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what we see.
honestly, I know it's cool that they're doing a battery replacement. At this point, for whoever's still using one, if you can prove it, they should just give you the latest A model.
Yeah.
This is probably not that many people, like a couple thousand maybe. Just give them the update.
I don't know. That was a very popular phone.
It was a popular phone. We're what?
40 million.
5 years.
Five generations past it, and it was
know.
already the more middle range one. So maybe not. I'm sure there's plenty, but I think at this point, if you're giving $50 credit and batteries, I think you should just give them a free upgrade.
Yeah, that's true. So if you're out there, be careful.
Yeah.
Stay safe out there, friends.
Don't put your Pixel 4a in your pocket.
Don't go to sleep if your Pixel 4a is plugged in.
Yeah.
Next is something that's very dear to mine and Adam's hearts.
Very much so. Do you want to talk about it, Dave?
You psychos.
We are certified speed consumers.
Absolute animals.
Yeah, so Adam and I famously consume content at 2x speed.
Famously?
Yeah,
Okay, nice.
Maybe infamous. You never know.
depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
YouTube Premium is testing a bunch of new experimental features, which,
Not on my account.
wow. Do you have Premium?
Yeah, and I wish I had this feature. I didn't get it. I've been checking,
Well, it's-
refreshing every day.
Wait, you're right. I haven't seen it. Oh,
You
it's
don't
no, it's a labs feature. You have to turn it on.
Oh, okay.
which I did not do.
What's the
got it.
feature?
So, okay, there are many
Thank you.
features. There are many features. One of them is that you can now watch videos in up to 4x speed
Jesus Christ. What are you guys doing?
What is happening?
on iOS and Android.
4x speed?
That is a little. I've been trying to train myself for 3x. Like I've been working on it. 2.5 I can still do. 3x. You know how your brain takes in information and processes it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how it does that.
Famously.
Famously. I feel like when I'm consuming things at 3x, it's like 5% too fast for my brain to be able to understand what's happening before the next thing is coming in.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know how to read fast?
No.
There's a way to read fast where instead of reading each word out loud in your head, you just let your eyes scan it because
Yeah.
your brain will catch up and process it.
No.
That's how you got to start watching these YouTube videos.
My brain doesn't work like that.
Just stare at the screen, glaze over, and just like
My-
let it all come in.
I was just editing a short, and we were trying to get our shorts under 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And sometimes if we record the whole short and I edit it and it's all good and I get to the end, it'll be like 1 minute and 4 seconds. And the only way I've like trimmed all the air and I've cut it up perfectly, and
speed
the
up the
only
whole
way
thing.
for me to get it under 1 minute is to speed it up by like 5%.
Yeah.
And I'll go and I'll highlight the whole thing and I'll set it to 105% and I'll play it back. And it'll sound just a little too fast. And I don't know if I want to publish that because it doesn't really sound right. It's just a little bit too fast or whatever. You guys are telling me you listen to videos at 250% speed of what they were meant to be watched at,
And want more.
and you want more
Well,
than that?
how much
I
you
don't
can
know
learn.
if I want more. I mean, it would be useful to have 300. You know what I mean?
What's an example of a video that you would...
Bro, the meta on
Watch.
YouTube is like 4-hour videos right now.
So
Watching that
those videos, I feel like aren't really meant to be watched the whole time. You kind of listen to it in the background. You watch some of it. You glance over. Maybe it's like a
Okay.
podcast. Like it's like on the Bluetooth in the car.
Yeah, that's not a good example. For research, when I'm researching something, I need to like watch as many videos as I can, and I like just consume the information. You know, I'm like,
Yeah, like if
take
I'm
it in,
watching
take
an
it in, take it in.
explainer, just
Yeah.
leave it on 2x.
And I
you
have
can,
to
like-
watch multiple different videos explaining the topic to kind of get it in multiple different ways in my head. And so the faster I can ingest that information, the better.
I get that. I guess it's just that those probably are not very visual explainers. Because
Some
I
of them
can
are.
process
Some of
the
them.
audio at 2x. I absolutely don't think you can process.
Well, you could pause it, you know? So like,
then
yeah.
it's just
I'm just
1x.
letting... then it's 0. Like,
Like pause it and then it
if I'm-
catches up.
If I'm
It's like-
watching an explainer about something and I'm really confused about like a graphic on screen or something like that, I'll just pause it. And then I'll like wrap my head around it like, okay, go on. And then continue with 2x. You know?
I wonder if the amount of time you would have taken up watching at 1x or watching
way.
at 2x and then pausing for
I mean, I'm not
graphics.
sitting there for 4 minutes looking at the graphic, you know?
yeah.
Interesting.
But that's how much time I save watching 2x.
I guess just as a video editor, my feathers are ruffled.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Do you edit videos at 2x? I do.
What?
Yeah.
No.
If you press L in Final Cut, it goes at 2x.
Yeah, this podcast is
do
only
that for-
edited in 2x.
I
Yeah.
do that.
Let's
Editing
go.
the podcast, it's really good, especially editing a podcast you were part of because you kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's how I used to do first passes when I edited Waveform.
A
It
first
was like-
pass, maybe.
yeah.
The main way I edit videos is like ripple trim back, ripple trim forward, and add edit. So it's like it cuts out everything behind it, adds an edit, or cuts out everything in front of it. And so you're just like, "Brrr, oh, here's a part, ripple trim back. Brrr, here's a part, ripple trim back. Add edit, move forward. Brrr. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, you edit at 1x speed?
I do. I edit everything at 1x speed
You
very
monster.
meticulously, and I make
You're still quite fast.
1/8 of a second, 1/10 of a second,
I think-
fraction of a second adjustments.
I
to
do that
cuts.
too. Yeah.
Well, you could still do that after
You still do
have
that.
like
You
the
do
rough
that-
draft.
yeah, first
yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
First pass.
He's saying like first pass to find the takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I will say, I've probably never watched a video at regular speed before publishing it. So
I think you should because of how many other people will.
yeah, that's true.
Just yeah.
Also,
I've-
this has bitten me in the butt before because there's been times where like you guys drop in a frame link of a video that's going live, and I'll watch it on
Dude.
like 1.75x speed.
Why does
for those that don't know, Frame.io is a service we use to like leave comments on each other.
and it's limited to 1.75.
Yeah, it's limited to 1.75.
Stupid.
But even
Perfect.
still,
No.
I've missed certain like weird cuts or things like that because in the speeding, it just won't
Yeah.
It won't
play
catch
that
up.
back.
Because
It
when you're
won't
playing
catch
back
it.
at 1.75, you're going to miss frames.
Yeah.
It has to skip frames.
Yeah, but I
so
start
if there's
feeling-
like a flash frame or you like miss or like something extends for one or two too many frames into the next scene or something weird happens like that, you'll just miss it in the edit and you have to watch it at 1x to catch that.
I feel like I always catch those in frame, even after multiple people have watched. And now I'm realizing because I'm the only person that I feel like watches things at 1x.
I watch at 1x.
Okay.
I'm a
Too
1x
I'm
person.
too ADHD, dude. If I'm like trying to watch back a 17-minute video that I'm like trying, it's like I'll get kind of antsy and then I'll have to pick up my phone.
It also
and-
depends on the video.
You're having
Check
withdrawal
TikTok.
of 2x speed.
You start scrolling TikTok.
Like some people talk really slow.
Yeah.
So when you put it at 2x speed, it almost sounds like now they're talking normal.
Well, and when you're used to watching 2x content, 1x speed feels like it's taking
yeah,
forever.
and real life goes
Why
so
are you-
slow for me. Like you guys
real.
sound so slow right
When
now.
you
Yeah.
that I can't say that. Yeah. Fair.
Broken Marquez.
Fair. I just feel like you wouldn't watch a movie at 2x. You wouldn't watch a
That's art though.
You wouldn't
That's
watch
different.
a Kurzgesagt
No.
video at 2x.
No,
you wouldn't
I do.
watch
Yeah.
You
I
watch
watch-
those at 2x?
Yeah. I don't watch movies at 2x.
I watch
I'm not a
anything that
monster.
looks like I'm supposed to be taking artistic value from it. I watch those at 1x.
Same.
Okay. So
But
I
if
aim
it's information based,
I
So
aim to make
Waveform 1x.
videos.
2x baby.
No, I watch Waveform at 2x.
I aim to make videos as a creator that people watch as intended.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if
What if
they-
your intention is 2x?
then publish it at 2x. Then
Publish
just
it.
publish.
Ooh.
Then
Oh,
just
I see.
make a 2x
Ooh.
export and upload that.
Coward.
And then just title it "Watch this at 0.5x speed."
If you need to be real time.
Wait,
Yeah.
I want to do this so bad.
Don't ever do that.
Can I do a clip? This whole conversation will be a clip.
2x.
4x.
Publish
short.
this at 0.5x
And
for
say
the
watch at
time,
2x.
and then tell
And
people to
watch
watch
at
it at
2x.
2x.
That's
so
actually
this
a
is
great
like
idea.
a 30-minute clip. But
That's
we're
great.
just like,
Okay, so back to the story. So apparently they're going to allow 4x. I don't know what this is for.
Yes.
You would be a superhuman if you were able to consume at 4x. I feel like it's
Thank you.
more for rushing forward in the video, but I don't know. You don't just click around in that
You just
case.
hold
You can just hold.
space to fast forward.
Yeah.
Great.
But does that go to 2?
That does 2x.
Yeah.
So it could do 4. Maybe it's for that then. Yeah, but it's only on iOS and Android for some reason. Other updates that are in YouTube Premium and they are in testing currently are Smart Shorts downloads on iOS. So it automatically downloads shorts for you.
How many?
Great
doesn't- I'm assuming it
question.
doesn't.
Probably like 5. I mean, there's value to like I'm on the subway and there's no.
Yeah, but that's assuming you're watching every 60-second clip to the full.
But that's the thing about it
Yeah, it was a
has to
short.
download every single one. Yet
Yeah.
the majority of things in a shorts feed that I actually watch to full is like 5%.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's probably going to download like 100.
I
So
would
you
argue
can just
more.
swipe
100's
through.
like 45 seconds of
100 be a lot.
scrolling.
I would love to know
Just
this
maybe
number.
not quite that bad, but
Okay. That there's also Shorts picture in picture on iOS, which is, there's that meme of like watching Subway Surfers while doing everything else. A Shorts while you're doing something else on your phone.
shorts while you're
crazy.
on Reels.
Yeah,
That's a little crazy.
it's a little crazy. There's going to be high quality audio for 256 kilobyte per second sound on iOS and Android.
Somewhere else is shaking his fist at the sky.
Why? Wouldn't he like that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay. Also, jump ahead, which is this awesome feature where if it notices that most people sort of skip to a different part of the video, generally that's to avoid sponsors.
One of the most useful features.
It's pretty awesome.
I gotta say.
Yeah. It's
Almost-
basically,
Almost every time I see the jump ahead button on YouTube and I click it, it's right at the end of the ad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
It's
Except
really
for this podcast. Everyone
Obviously.
watches
It's
these
so
naturally.
yeah. I don't know why they're making these limited runs or why they didn't have that on web in the first place. A lot of these are all experiments. So
I would just assume on web, people don't double tap the screen to move forward. They move the
The cursor.
timeline.
Playhead.
Yeah, but
Playhead, yeah.
there's the jump ahead thing is like a little thing that appears in the corner.
Yeah, but I
that you
thought
can
it
tap.
only happened on mobile when you start skipping. Like if you
Oh.
skip and in the first 10 seconds it realizes in this part everyone skips, then it does jump ahead and lets you skip all the way.
I'll have to
past.
see how it works today.
All right, well, we're going to take a 1x speed break.
We're gonna
Well, no.
That's
I don't talk in that slow. We'll take a quick break. But before we do, trivia time.
Trivia, dude. All right. First question. Do you remember what the code name of the Pixel 4a was?
Not Shamu.
That's the first thing I thought of.
That's the one everyone thinks of.
That's the famous
Iconic.
one. I remember some,
Okay.
but I don't know about this one.
Code names are fun because companies don't usually talk about them.
Yeah.
And usually they're not actually related to the product, except for Shamu. That was related to the product.
Project Muhan is related.
Technically true, but it's like public. It's like being publicly
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
What does
called
it
it
mean
Project
again?
Moon. Infinity,
like an infinite canvas.
even though we don't have an infinite canvas in the world.
But
You can't
feels
prove
like
it.
one. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. Well, we'll think about that, and the answers will be at the end, like usual. We'll be right back. Support for Waveform comes from Coda. Imagine this. You're starting a new project at work and your vision is clear. Not only do you know exactly who's doing what, but you also know exactly where to find the data you need to do your part. In fact, you don't need to waste any time searching for anything, and neither do your coworkers, because everything your team needs, from project trackers and OKRs to documents and spreadsheets, all lives in one tab, all in Coda. With Coda's collaborative all-in-one workspace, you get the flexibility of docs, the structure of spreadsheets, and the power of applications and the intelligence of AI, all in one easy-to-organize tab. That means one organized workflow without the daily scramble to figure out who's doing what or where that important piece of data is hidden. Coda connects the tools and teams so that you spend less time switching gears. More than 50,000 teams trust Coda to keep them more aligned and focused. So to try it for yourself, go to coda.io/wave today and get started for free. So that's coda.io/WAVE to get started for free. Coda.io/wave. Support for Waveform comes from Netsuite. So despite our best efforts, it's impossible to know what the future will bring. There's no crystal ball to tell you when the bull market might turn into a bear market or when rates will rise or fall. The best any of us can do is just be prepared for any outcome, and for that, you might want to try Netsuite by Oracle. Almost 40,000 companies choose Netsuite to help future-proof their business so they can stay on track no matter what tomorrow brings. Netsuite is a top-rated cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform with one single source of truth. NetSuite offers real-time insights and data that you can use to make the right decisions at the right time, all to help you close the books in days, not weeks, so you can spend less time looking backwards and more time on what's next for your business. So whether your company is earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite can help you respond to immediate challenges and seize opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/waveform. So the guide is free to you at netsuite.com/waveform. netsuite.com/waveform. All right, so welcome back. Apple released a new product this week. It's an app. It's an iOS-only app. Now, it's an iOS-only app that you can invite Android friends to participate in the experience of.
Whoops.
But it is an iOS-only app. And it is, in my opinion, the most Apple way that you could possibly do this.
Yeah.
It is an invites app. So those of you who are my age probably remember Facebook events where you'd have an event you wanted to invite a bunch of people to, and you have a bunch of Facebook friends. So what you do is you make a Facebook event and then you invite all of the Facebook friends to the event so they all know when and where it is,
This
and then
used
you
to
all
be
go.
huge.
Right? That's how people my age used to do this.
If you were Andrew's age, you remember letters.
Yeah, if you're older. If you're younger, you probably use this app called Partiful, which is a lot of the same thing. It's literally just for events, typically parties, sure, but you just invite anyone from their phone number or their email address, and then they get an invite.
But it's cool because you can send text blast in Partiful, Partiful, so people can say they're going maybe or not going, and then you basically can send updates. So
Yeah.
you're like,
And this has been-
we're moving to this location.
Yeah, and this has been true about Facebook events and about all the previous events things where it's like you need to send a message to everyone who's there. There used to be a wall. Anyone who's invited could write on the wall and everyone gets a notification. If you changed the time, you could, everyone gets a notification blast. So Partiful is the newest, hottest version of that. There's an app.
So I'd never heard of Partiful till yesterday and I realized when I tried to figure out what Partiful was,
too old.
It literally says that it is the Facebook events for hot people.
I don't know why it says that.
That is weird.
But
That
I
is
realized why I'd
true,
never
though.
heard of it.
That is
In
true, though.
moment.
Yeah, we're not hot enough, so that's fine.
I literally just as we were recording this podcast got a Partiful invite, and the person was hot.
That means you're hot. Then you're hot now.
Oh,
I think that's how that
shoot.
works.
So hot
By
right
extension.
now.
And
I
we
think
haven't
you're
gotten
right.
one. So anyway,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that's what's that's the current state of the landscape. So Apple comes along and they're like, you know what? We're a services company. We could make an app here. They make the most Apple possible version of this.
Yep.
Which is the app is iOS only, iPhone only.
Check.
Right. Anyone who has an iPhone gets a beautiful, glassy, well thought out experience. RSVP. Notifications, comments, all that fun stuff.
You can add
And
an Apple Music playlist.
Apple Music playlist.
Just want an iPhone and iCloud Plus in order to create an invite.
Well, to create an invite.
Yeah. But
you
if
can
you are,
accept one without iCloud
yeah.
Plus.
yeah, if you go to invite a bunch of people, everyone who has that app will have a great experience. But if you want to invite a friend with an Android phone, I guess you can, and they'll get like a web link or whatever, and they'll be able to RSVP through the web link, but they probably can't add to the Apple, music playlist or anything like that, and they won't get notifications probably as easily. They'll have to probably return to that invite link. There's just a few things that don't quite work as beautifully for the Android.
We tested
phones.
it yesterday because I'm on Android. Adam sent me an invite as a test.
Yeah.
It does bring up like a web page. It's in your browser. The thing that's annoying right off the bat is you need an Apple ID to sign into it.
Wait,
or at least
really?
I needed to log in. Or no, an Apple ID to RSVP.
Really?
And I have an Apple ID, but I think there are plenty. Maybe I'm missing something there. But when I said it said like log in to RSVP, and there was an Apple ID sign in.
If you're an Android and Windows user, you just can't RSVP to these
It's
events.
just
I
like
mean, an Apple ID
accessing
is
stuff in
free,
iCloud.
but-
Like, when you're not on a Windows computer. I mean, when you're not on a Mac computer, you're on a Windows and you're trying to access your iCloud, you have to do it in the web and log in through your iCloud that way,
Yeah.
Wow.
which is annoying.
That's wild. Yeah, they definitely put their ecosystem in the front here. You can add to a Apple Photos library, and everyone can add to it
I think
live.
that's awesome.
Works super
That's such a
well
good
for your
idea.
iPhone friends.
Super well for your iPhone
Now,
friends.
your Android friend took pictures at the event too, but
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope.
Man. I don't want to see those, I guess.
There's the Apple Music playlist that people can add to.
Also cool.
Also cool, but they have to, again, have Apple Music.
Which
and-
that one's funny because there's plenty of iPhone users who don't have Apple Music.
That's
yeah,
true.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's a good point. Yeah, it's just one of those things where they were like, somebody else is doing this thing that we technically could take control of because we own everyone.
Just so social.
Yeah.
Very social thing.
I think it's even a step further of we control everyone in our ecosystem and keeps them in there. And then this is one more thing that has that friction of your friends that don't have iPhones.
Yep.
Let's jam it in there.
Exactly.
Think
Like,
about the FaceTime experience. They finally added FaceTime on the web, so you can invite Android users into your FaceTimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, great. Now we can all join a video call. My aunt has an Android phone. Whoop-de-doo, she can join. But she can't start a FaceTime. And also, it's going to be in the web browser and probably won't have all of the same features. And I doubt she's going to have the Memoji face. Like, there's going to be things that aren't quite as ideal.
yeah.
But it technically still works.
When did they launch that?
2021.
Have you
couple
ever FaceTimed with an Android user in that?
Once.
I never have.
I tried it with my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same reason there's green bubbles and blue bubbles.
They can
like,
say it's there, but they don't expect anyone to use it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a very U.S. thing. Like, if in the U.S. this social peer pressure thing that happens with iPhones is so clear and so obvious, and it's so obvious what they're doing here, And many other countries are like, well, I guess I just won't use that dumb app then. It seems pretty stupid.
Yeah.
So this is, not multi-platform.
Other features it has, you can use Apple Maps to go directly to the party.
Nice.
I believe you can add it to your Apple Calendar. And then also it plugs into Image Playground, which I find Image Playground generally really stupid. However, people do put pretty dumb photos as their Partiful photos, so I could see this being relatively handy.
Did you see the picture that I added to this event?
No, because I didn't join the one that you invited me
the
to.
podcast. You didn't join?
No, he doesn't like me.
Oh, you're not invited to the podcast.
I'm sorry. No, I got invited. I just didn't RSVP.
Oh, so you should. You probably have to go home.
Wow.
No, Adam made a podcast invite, a podcast event on the Invites app. And the AI generated photo is a couple microphones.
3 microphones.
Yeah.
Don't pay any attention to how the cables seem to disappear into thin air.
Nope.
And slightly out of focus ones are a little bit convoluted with the buttons. They
Just
don't really
ignore
mean
that.
anything. It's fine.
Doesn't
Working great.
seem to want to do anything. It's just spinning in circles.
It gets the idea across.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Image Playground's kind of weird, and even with some past Samsung phones, they've done this where it's like the image generation for an invite. I could see that being like kind of nice. It's like, let's get a general vibe out
Yeah.
here that doesn't need to be super specific.
And I will say, as the person making the invite, it was helpful because, like, podcast episode, what do you put for that? They had a bunch of balloons, they had like all these other things, but I was just like, whip me up some microphones.
It's the equivalent of this is like OpenAI is Partiful and Gemini is Apple Invites, because OpenAI doesn't have access to things like your Gmail or your calendar or any of this stuff. And it's like, it works on any platform and it's great. It works for everything. But then Google swoops in and is like, but we can plug in our ecosystem. And it's effectively the same thing. And I think you should just keep using Partiful, because you just don't want to isolate anybody, and we need to keep these platforms open. And Partiful doesn't even have ads.
Good luck.
I was going to say, where's the Google version of this that does put in calendar,
Google
Gmail, Maps? I guess it does have Google Music, but like Google could do all of this, and I'm sure most iPhone users have a Gmail account.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But would they make it Android only?
Well,
No way.
I don't know what any of them are.
They'd
trying to do
you know what? They'd
anymore.
make it Pixel only for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it would be
That's way
available
too
It
long.
launches with the S26 Ultra.
Yeah.
It's enabled by the
1 month.
Tensor G4.
And then it would be available on Google Photos for everybody.
Totally.
The new feature pipeline.
Okay. Anyway, if you like this feature, you should let us know. If you hate it like me, you should let us know. And
I love it. That's
Wow.
all.
You don't even have an iPhone.
I love it because it gives me one more plausible reason to accidentally ignore an invite that I don't want to go to and be like, oh, sorry, I'm on Android. It just didn't really come through correct. Sorry, I missed that.
Bug or a feature.
But
Yeah.
Adam's like, I'm going back to Android right now.
That is the greatest excuse ever. That and a child, but I'm not ready for having a baby yet. So
Sorry, my baby can't go. Just get you have a dog. A dog is a great excuse.
yeah, but people don't accept it as much as a baby.
What?
I could be like, oh, I can't leave the dog at home. They're like, okay, so go home early. I could be like, no, I'm not going at all. I have a baby. And everyone's like, okay, I understand.
I say, okay, so go home early.
Baby's fine.
Yeah. What did they do in the Middle Ages, Adam? People still went to parties, okay?
Did they?
And the babies were all fine. All of them.
Famously.
Famously.
Famously. Okay, yeah, no, there's another app, though, or at least something that I haven't heard of, but I think is an app that Adam's going to talk about.
It is an app.
I think you might like it, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Tapestry. It is a new app that combines a lot of the things that I do on the internet into one timeline.
I'm interested.
Yes.
Do you know how I know Marcus is going to like this? The 2 people I've seen talk about it are Adam and David Pierce.
The third
It's-
trifecta is the only person missing.
It's a Fediverse reader, by the way.
basically, yeah.
It's like Surf. We talked about Surf a few weeks
It's like
ago.
Surf, but Surf, when you open it up, the homepage is more like a magazine. It's like
Yes.
a pretty kind of, like it's very inspired by Flipboard. This is just, it launches you straight into a timeline,
feed,
like
yeah.
a feed.
Yeah.
So you could just start scrolling and everything is color coordinated. So like if you plug in your Mastodon account, it'll be purple. If you plug in your Blue Sky account, it'll be blue. You can add in
RSS feeds and YouTube channels.
yeah, regular RSS feeds. The YouTube channel one is low-key my favorite feature of this, which I
Because
don't-
YouTube is RSS.
Yeah, it's RSS. And I don't think it's super unique to this
It's
app
not.
in
Surf
particular.
has it
Yeah,
too.
you could just just RSS feeds in general. You could just plug in a YouTube channel or whatever.
Yeah.
But it made me realize how little I use my subscriptions box in YouTube. Because for the longest, I just go and I like the algorithm's pretty good now at like giving me something interesting that I want to watch right on the homepage. So now I can actually just add this into the thing that I'm using every day anyway. I'm always on these like social media apps scrolling, wasting my life. So I could just put a channel that I actively want to keep up with in there and it'll pop up.
This could, you can put Twitter in this, right?
No.
I don't know. I don't use
you
Twitter.
can only put things that have open protocols.
What's Twitter?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, it has Mastodon, blogs that are open via ActivityPub or RSS or whatever.
I was going to say, I want to put like the couple Twitter beat writers in the NHL that haven't moved to Blue Sky yet. Throw them on that so I don't have to actually open
No.
the
You would
have to
website
use their-
anymore.
You'd have to use their API, which they shut down.
I mean, this won't be able to work with Threads either. I imagine.
Not yet, no.
Yeah, because
But
Threads hasn't opened.
if Threads ever decides to
They won't.
federate,
They won't. They said they will.
David,
They won't.
David, stop putting that into the universe. They will federate.
Whatever.
Anyway, this app, I've been using it since 24 hours ago ish.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. It's actually like, I really enjoy it for two main reasons. One, the YouTube thing, like I said, you could just throw it in, and then anytime a YouTuber that I care about publishes a video, it pops up in my feed like in real time. The second thing is because it's more of a reader type situation, and I have my Blue Sky plugged in, I can't really interact with people, which I guess some people would see that as a con. You would have to like, you click it and it opens up the Blue Sky app and then you can like interact with them or whatever. But I like the fact that it's just like a one-way thing. Like I'm just keeping up, making sure that I know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually like going back and forth with people or anything like that. Like for that, I just open up the Blue Sky app and do that dedicated over there.
Can I ask if you like, if you're on The Verge or 9 to 5 Google or something, can you get posts from one specific author?
Oh,
I guess
I believe so. If they have
RSS.
RSS feed turned on, it depends on the site, I guess.
Okay.
Because I was even wondering, like, Verge was popping up on here, but I was wondering about the paywall.
That's what I do.
So I was like, I don't know how that would
This
work.
would most likely just show like the
free stuff.
thumbnail, well, the
title.
like, the title and
you're right.
the
And
you
like,
log
header
in.
image, right? And then you would go into it. And
That
do
makes
it.
sense.
But that'd still be good because if I went to like 9 to 5 Google and been like, I just want to see what Ben Schoon's writing about and like have his stuff pop up because The Verge posts so much.
Yeah.
Or like any of those blogs post a lot. But if there's someone specific you're following,
Well, that
would be
was
awesome.
going back to my YouTube example. My subscriptions box, I was thinking about the reason why I don't use it is because it is just plastered with IGN videos. And I subscribe to IGN. I like their videos. They do make great content, but there's so many of them that it kind of, and NBA too. NBA is another one. They will post like a million videos. So I just lose everything. I
gotta unsubscribe from the big ones. I unsubscribed from most of the channels that like mass post like that.
Yeah.
Because the homepage is so good at just showing me the ones that I would have watched.
Also, I don't think that we even mentioned that the name of this app is called Tapestry.
I did, but yeah.
You said
it
that?
is
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it
I
is-
think it's
okay.
one of the first.
Yeah.
not
beginning.
a totally original name.
It's made by
Yeah.
the person or the app company that made
Yeah, the
Twitterific.
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
Twitterific, the client.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing.
Icon Factory is the name of the company.
Yeah.
So
Good stuff.
quite cool.
I like it.
These readers are cool, and more people should federate. Anyway,
I guess this was kind of like your Fediverse corner.
shoot. You took over my Fediverse corner. There's only room for one of us in the Fediverse corner. All right.
One other thing to talk about. After a leaked memo from Meta, or I don't know if I would call it a memo or like Meta has a private forum apparently, and this was a post in the forum. Andrew Bosworth?
Yeah.
Andrew Bosworth.
How'd you forget
posted,
Andrew?
I know, man. I don't know. It's a long day.
weird
His name starts with an A.
Wrote a pretty long post about why 2025 might be the make or break year for the metaverse. I thought it was kind of interesting because of how deep into the metaverse we are, sort of.
I
But
completely misread this title in the doc, and this whole time I thought it was about the Fediverse. So I was ready for David to go off. And now I'm just realizing
Okay.
now it's the Metaverse.
I'm going to read. I have a couple questions about this that I want to pose to you guys. And I'm going to read the opening paragraph of his post.
I'm ready.
So it says, 2025, the year of greatness. Next year is going to be the most critical year in my 8 years at Reality Labs. We have the best portfolio of products we've ever had in the market and are pushing our advantage by launching half a dozen more AI-powered wearables. We need to drive sales, retention, and engagement across the board, but especially in MR.
Mixed reality.
Yeah. And Horizon Worlds on mobile absolutely has to break out for long-term plans to have a chance. If you don't feel the weight of history on you, then you aren't paying attention. This year likely determines whether this entire effort will go down as the work of visionaries or legendary misadventure. First of all, bars. At the ends there.
Andrew Barsworth.
Nice.
Dang.
But I guess he goes on then to talk more about like how much of a pivotal moment this is, how people should be doing the best work of their careers this year, and then also how small teams can also succeed, which sounds like hey guys, I know we laid off a bunch of you, but you still can pull this off for us. And it just felt weird. And I guess my question is, we see Meta so recently really focusing on this like AR, VR, XR, whatever you want to call it. They're super deep into Quest. We saw the glasses not too long ago that they feel like they're kind of ahead of the curve on. When he says this is make or break for the metaverse, what are we talking about? Are we talking about XR in general? Are we talking about the physical like meta world? Horizon worlds would be it for them, like the virtual world? Or are we talking about like goggles, because maybe they're moving more towards glasses, which is way more focused on augmented reality and like your own world with things on it? So I was interested in this. It feels like when you just read the title, it's like Meta's freaking out about anything XR related, but I'm starting to wonder if it's more about like the creepy Mark Zuckerberg.
He's talking about this.
Yeah, Metaverse.
He's talking about Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Eiffel Tower.
No, I think it's
the legless.
It's kind of a combination of some of those things. I feel so. We have seen some advancements lately in the world of mixed reality. We just showed Samsung's headset, the Project Muhan, which is, again, this weird thing where a bunch of companies feel the need to show us products before they come out, or that in some cases aren't even coming out, just to flex that they are working on this, it's coming soon. And I think that this is along the lines of believing that they will finally ship something that feels like it's, you know, a usable, real pair of AR glasses. Like the Snapchat Spectacles are a developer kit, essentially, right? The Meta glasses that they showed us, the glasses
Orion.
are not a real product, but they showed them off just to, you know, get them in front of people. Look, we're doing this. Project Muhan, Samsung, prototypey coming later this year. Again, there's a bunch of movement towards a bunch of companies all poised to ship something they just haven't yet.
I think it's interesting you go straight to Orion glasses, though, because to me, this feels like Orion is their focus, but like the rest of Reality Labs and the Horizon Worlds-esque, VR-esque stuff is like, this is our last year to prove that this might be a thing. Because Meta, before we saw Orion,
before AI,
was super focused on like the digital world that you would be in and how it's so much better to work in this digital world.
Yeah.
And how it's better to like do all these different things. It's how you're never alone. You always have the option to be with people and in this cool environment. And I feel like this post to me feels more along the lines of like, hey, all of this stuff that we've been working on for a while, we may just totally pivot at the end of 2025 and kill the rest of the metaverse as a like place.
I think the metaverse is more of an umbrella term.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't see Orion glasses as the metaverse.
You don't.
Yeah.
But it is like part of the mixed reality thing.
It's like XR. The way I see it, they went all in on the metaverse. That's why they changed their name to Meta. And then when AI happened the year after, they were like, oh.
I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe that was, yeah.
But I hadn't thought of like, they literally changed their name to Meta, and now it's like, well, we might give up on the metaverse. Are they going to change their name again?
Well, that's why he's saying this year will determine if this entire effort, aka naming our company Meta and tripling down, quadrupling down on this like VR, AR, metaverse thing, will go down as the work of visionaries because they were early to doing this and they really committed to it, or legendary misadventure. The world moved on without them and people didn't care about it.
Well, what they were trying to do before was make the next browser or the next Google. Like the way they wanted to be the next platform.
Like internet. Yeah.
So Mark was like, oh, we can like quadruple down on being the next version of the internet, and then we'll own the platform and we own the OS that we can license out and all of this stuff. And I don't think anybody has used Horizon Worlds or cares about it. Like, it really feels like they never fleshed that out to a level that people actually gave.
Here comes
Do you
Android
not
XR.
remember when we played the Cheetos Halloween world?
Oh, yeah.
That was revolutionary.
Right.
Other than
Yeah.
you don't remember there was like in
The
Horizon
Chester,
Worlds,
the Cheeto.
Chester the Cheeto like haunted house world.
Because remember for the like 8 months where every company was like, we have a metaverse division now, and people
Yeah.
were buying real estate in the
Chief
metaverse.
officer.
Yeah. Disney had a chief metaverse officer, and then they got rid of that role like 8 months later.
I think that was back when Meta went around convincing everyone that they were going to be the company that made the metaverse a thing.
Yeah.
And now it's not so clear that Meta's the only one who will have a stake in this new platform that we're
But I
heading
feel like
towards.
the metaverse as a platform, Meta originally foresaw as mostly a digital world. Whereas now it feels like everyone's like, oh, AI is enabling all of these other things that are just XR experiences.
Yeah.
And so they're pivoting hard to mostly XR stuff because like the Ray-Bans are actually a hit. Like the Ray-Bans are actually selling units, whereas the Quest, everyone knows what the Quest for. It's for VR gaming. So I think they're basically like, if we cannot make our original 2020 metaverse version of what we were going to do happen this year, we basically need to pivot the entire company towards XR.
I think even
and
the
AI.
Quest is starting. Like they started making way better pass through with it when they killed the Quest Pro. They
Yeah.
just were like, oh, cheaper version. Let's do a lot of the pass through stuff, a lot of the functionality in
Right.
your own world kind of things.
Yeah.
So even that, the thing that was their like
Yeah.
moneymaker metaverse thing is even pivoting towards.
Yeah. And they are doing that they originally were doing that to compete with the Vision Pro, but now they're like, oh, it just turns out that people want this more than they want to be fully encased in a
Did
virtual
they destroy
world.
themselves by releasing a hit with the Meta Ray-Bans?
No, I think it just became
just
more
a
clear
different-
what people actually want.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where nobody knows what they want until they try it and they like it. So like Meta's trying a bunch of different things and they have the Meta Ray-Bans and they have the Quest and they're going to make glasses and they're just doing a bunch of different versions of the thing and one of them will be a hit, hopefully. for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
But enough of a hit to like justify this crazy investment that they've been doing?
They want it to be. I mean, they want it to be the thing that everyone like. Every company wants the next iPhone, which is like probably pretty unrealistic. But every company is thinking that way. Like we want to be the ones that pioneer the next big thing,
Yeah.
and it will be worth pivoting our whole company because we are now the ones that control and have made this thing
Yeah.
that we can profit from.
There's a strong irony where Meta is constantly talking about making like Llama open source and how like open source software makes everything better, but yet they won't open up the Threads API. So
What-
when it benefits you, I guess.
Waveform's been around long enough to watch Facebook change its name and potentially regret changing its name.
Dang.
Meta is
Yeah.
still kind of a banger name though. Okay.
Banger?
Banger
know
is a
about
word.
banger. Could be a
disagree.
banger. Could be legendary misadventure. Never know.
Legendary
bars
Misadventure is an awesome way of
bar.
saying,
That's a band name.
wow, we spend way too much money on this.
Legendary.
Yeah.
And you're all getting fired.
He's like, we are either the people who have charted history or we are losers, but we're going to say that in a much nicer way. Legendary Misadventure.
What would a success look like for them?
we would
that
all
mean
be in, people would be watching Waveform inside
in headsets,
the
right?
Metaverse
Like
now.
that's such a hard.
Hit products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Hit products or experiences that are sort of familiar to all.
Yeah.
Like success for Android was like a whole bunch of people using Android phones, and now Google can build inside of Android, and everyone gets these things. Hit for Apple with the iPhone was pretty obvious, like huge market share takeover in a bunch of regions, and like now they're a services company building on top of the iPhone. Like it's this thing that they control. It's a platform for them. Success for Meta is hit product that they can then build a bunch of things on top of / around that they control.
So
Yeah.
is the product the headset or the
TBD.
Horizon?
I think what
Worlds?
we're talking about here is
TBD.
I really think they thought the product was Horizon Worlds / the Metaverse /
that's-
the
you
digital
don't-
world you kind of live in.
You got to buy a product to access that.
Yeah, but I think there's more money in that being the default.
Like they want it to be the Android, basically.
I think they wanted it to be the new internet, pretty much.
Yeah, the new Android.
Where you spend all your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now Android XR.
Your new browser.
It's
Sure.
literally Android.
Yeah. I still don't really know what it's for.
It's for all the headsets that aren't running Meta's or Apple's OSs.
Okay, but here's a question. When have you ever seen someone use a headset? And
On my
Ellis does
flight-
not count.
On my flight back from San Antonio on Sunday, I sat behind someone who was wearing a Vision Pro who was gesturing wildly for 2 hours on a flight.
Interesting. I've never seen that before.
That's the first time I've seen it. But it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I imagine that $3,000 headset will not be seen in the public very often, but way more of the cheaper $200, $300, $400, $500 headsets will start to show up over the next couple of years. And if you're a company like Google or Meta and you know that that's true and you know that this hardware is coming down in price and here comes Project Muhan and then there's going to be a bunch of other stuff, you want to be the ones that are on as many of these headsets as possible.
Yeah.
So
we've been on this ride so many times. Like back in 2016, I was a VR reporter specifically. And I just remember like BMW was like, oh, we are using HTC Vives to model the inside of our cars. And I'm pretty sure they weren't.
Yeah,
and that they had given one engineer a Vive and said, try this, so that they could make a press release alongside HTC to make it seem like people cared about VR.
yeah.
And I just, this is like the fourth time that we've had this like VR. Actually, it's probably more than the fourth time.
Yeah, I think I resonate hard with that. The same exact thing happened with me. I visited Lucid, and they were like, "Here, put this headset on. You see, we designed the cars with the headsets." I'm like, "No, you
didn't. You did not.
But every company wants to seem one ahead of the curve or early to stuff.
Totally.
So if this seems like it might be the future, they'll just proclaim that this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And two, if you are wrong, then it's just legendary misadventure. You just move on.
I'm going to call every mistake I've ever made.
That's the title of this podcast.
That's the title.
Waveform episode 272, Our Legendary Misadventure.
Anytime I make a mistake, I'm going to like miss an exit and be like, we're going on a legendary misadventure.
It does sound like a choose your own adventure book that they just picked the wrong task for.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're blazing past the exit. Like, no, we'll be good. We'll be
Banger.
good.
So good.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
All right, well, we got a little more to talk about, but before we do that, we should take one more quick break.
But
which
before
means
that,
trivia time.
So, Apple Invites is for iCloud Plus subscribers. Like you can only create one if you're an iCloud Plus subscriber, correct?
yeah.
Interesting. What year did Apple announce iCloud?
I don't know.
I cloud it all.
Yep.
When did
Yeah.
clouds start forming?
When indeed? With the precipitation.
When did Apple
and,
become a service
See,
company?
back when the
condensation,
atmosphere was
evaporation.
invented.
Remember
When Steve Jobs invented the atmosphere?
Remember when we first started having things in the cloud and people would just be like, oh, it's in the cloud. And everyone was like, whoa.
There was like
can't have-
they would always like kind of look up.
Yeah. And
Remember things with, like,
it's
the
in the
cloud?
cloud.
Everybody knows you can't have clouds without air, so think about when the air came out.
Oh.
Anyway.
Which Air?
5 billion years
The
ago.
MacBook Air? I was there when it was unveiled.
We'll think about this one. We'll think about this one. We'll be right back. Support for the show comes from Shopify. Starting a new business can feel like a lonely journey. The twists and turns and the ups and downs can feel endless. You might start with questions like, how do I get started? And then how do I come up with a brand? And even how do I actually sell stuff? That's where Shopify comes in. So nobody does sales better than Shopify. Home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not so secret, the Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business or your commerce platform, you better be ready to sell wherever your customers are, on the web, on your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. So the powerful social media tools let you connect all of your channels and create shoppable posts. So you can sell everywhere people scroll, plus Shopify can help with the finer details of actually managing your business, like shipping, taxes, and payments, all from one single dashboard. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Looking to upgrade your business? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/waveform, all lowercase. So go to shopify.com/waveform to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/waveform.
All right, welcome back. I want to present you guys with a rant / take / I'm probably wrong and recency bias has frustrated me, but I'm going to go on a rant anyways, and you can tell me how wrong I am.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up with a comment. I think
Therefore,
It's like you're
am.
presenting an argument to Congress.
in the state of our current technology in the year 2025, it is harder to watch television than it was 15 years ago.
15
Counterpoint.
years ago.
Counterpoint.
15-ish years ago.
I'm stealing this counterpoint directly from David Pierce because he had this exact point on the Vergecast.
Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's just cable again,
Yes.
which is annoying because we entered this state where it wasn't cable again, and you could watch things on like a couple platforms, and it's awesome. And now there's so many platforms that it's basically cable again, but it is easier to watch because you can now watch it on more things. Like you used to have to have like a satellite dish to be able to watch certain channels.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm most likely going to be wrong about this, but I think the vast majority of different things has created also this weird competition inside of where everything gets posted that it's also caused issues. So I'm going to tell my story.
Okay.
Very specific. In the greater metro area, we have a sports channel that hosts 4 different sports teams. It's called MSG Networks. It hosts the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Knicks.
Let's see where this is going.
There are cable packages around here,
Oh, no.
generally Fios, Xfinity, Optimum. And you have to have the MSG Networks is feuding with like half of these cable networks. So
Oh gosh.
the only networks available in my home right now are Optimum and Xfinity. MSG Networks is not on either of those. So my options then start going to the internet. I think I have to be able to watch a sports team. There's so many different ways I can watch this now. You go on the internet and there's things called blackouts because they're local sports teams and they have these local things. So my options then started turning into ESPN Plus has hockey games, but since it's blacked out, I have to run through a VPN. Then ESPN is constantly trying to fix you being able to go through that. So my final decision after the last 3 years of trying to do this is I bought DirecTV Stream because DirecTV still has a partnership with MSG. But now that I'm streaming and not just a cable plugged in, I'm watching hockey overtime last night at what feels like 360p because for whatever reason, my 800 down internet is like, nah, this is a little tough to watch right now. Like
Flex.
no matter what, when you're streaming, it feels like you have the opportunity of buffering or low quality footage.
Even
And
though
in
our
a-
internet's fast.
Yeah. And in live sports or anything live, that's really annoying.
Yeah.
I can't just pause and let it buffer. I'm trying to watch something live. So I'm just so frustrated at the point that I used to just be able to like plug my my TV just had a coax cable plugged into it, and I watched live sports because everyone just carried live sports pretty much. And now cable is like this insane thing of like, even if you have cable and has like the like VODs, that half the time is like, oh, in order to watch that, you have to go log into Peacock now, or like you have to, that's on Paramount Plus. We have all these different streaming things. Everything is so segmented. And the fact that there's all those different segments, now those companies are like making deals with everyone and not having the deals. MSG just reported that they're possibly going bankrupt soon, and they're still not agreeing to terms with Xfinity and Optimum to give people their packages. So like they're literally dying and still not. I have no idea. It's so frustrating. And I think whether I could watch it on my phone or my iPad or whatever, I still think ultimately it's harder to watch.
I think that's a good take, and I think you're right, and I rescind my opinion.
Yeah. Wait, which side was David Pierce on?
He was basically saying it's very annoying.
It's
and
more convenient now,
his
but it's
guest
harder.
was saying it is easier to watch it in more places because you can be like at a friend's house, and as long as they have internet, yes, you still have to have the like right cable bundle, but the cable is now not a cable. It is now
It's like a
platform
or something. Yeah.
So it's easier to do in that sense. But I agree with you that it feels like the platforms that are carrying certain types of content are changing way more frequently. There's having all these deals happen behind closed doors. And it's like even shows that you're like used to watching, like, oh, it was on Netflix yesterday, but now it's on Hulu.
Or
Like,
Netflix gets like the exclusive rights to stream like a football game, and then Netflix doesn't know how to stream anything, and that goes down. Or Amazon Prime now has like MLB on Thursdays or whatever. It's impossible to just watch the
you need to make like
couple of sports
it's,
games you want.
It's like you need to make like a 40-step flow chart, but that flow chart needs to change every 3 days.
Yeah.
It's classic fragmentation. It would be nice if you could just have one place to watch everything, but
That's a monopoly.
It's fragmented. It's fragmented across a bunch of different services, and sports is a perfect example for that. I tend to agree. I happen to be able to get the channels that I need to watch, the teams that I want to watch. I have Verizon Fios, and I don't watch that many MSG games, but whenever I watch a team, it's typically on some channel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is. I think that's fair.
There's a funny meme that's like, oh, I can't watch that. I don't have this thing. And then the response is like, what do you mean, man? It's literally on Fubi. You can watch it for the trial on Hubu. If you go to dido.net, you can see it on TB.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fair.
I don't know where all these random streaming platforms popped up from. Like,
They all sound real.
Yeah.
That could have been the trivia question of like, which of these are real streaming
because
platforms?
literally it's like exclusively on Tubu. And you're like, when was Tubu a thing? Like, I've never heard of this.
It's to
Get
be
ready for the Super Bowl.
Fubu.
Super Bowl commercials. There's going to be a couple more that you've never even heard of.
I'm glad next
Exclusives.
episode we get to talk about.
Fuito.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's my rant. I hope some people in the tri-state area feel me on that one because this MSG stuff's been
What happens
brutal.
if MSG goes out of business?
Is that actually
Who
Madison
gets
Square
the
Garden?
rights? Yes.
Yeah, but they have their own
network.
as well.
Oh.
Who would get
They
those
got to
rights?
sell that.
You would sell
I
it
don't know.
to...
I thought the
gotta.
thing I read was that like Amazon might pick it up or something.
It's going to be on Fubu.
Freebie.
Easy. Just have a trial.
I kind of hope they go out of business, I'm just saying. But
Yeah. It almost feels like it's at the point of like, do you remember when Linus is like, I pay for games and then I pirate them?
Yeah.
Because I want to support it or whatever and not do that. But the pirating aspect is easier than actual just doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Dang.
But yeah. All right.
Wow.
That's how we'll wrap this episode up.
Okay.
Go Devils.
Giannis or whatever. I don't know. Is that who got traded? No.
Honestly, close enough.
Okay.
Close. It's basically like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it.
I think it's time for trivia.
Trivia. So, quick update on the score.
Okay.
Marques with 5 points. Andrew with 2 points. David in the lead with 7 points.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. First question. Do you remember what the code name of the Pixel 4a was?
The 21st day of September.
Do you remember? I wish we had code names. Can we have code names?
Tebow.
Tibby.
Tibby.
Shubu. Tuyub.
Why do they all? I've never. Okay.
I can't even think of a code name because now all I'm thinking is like Treeby or Fraba.
Traba.
Flip him and read. What do you got?
All right, nothing.
You wrote nothing?
Nope.
You
I'm
asked,
joking.
do you remember,
The
do you
21st day of
remember what
September.
the code name was? So
Yes.
I wrote no. I don't.
Good one though.
I put sailfish.
Sailfish. Close.
Oh.
It was sunfish.
Sunfish.
Oh, wow.
At first glance, I thought you wrote sunfish, so I was ready to give you the point, and then you said sailfish. So.
Yeah. Google
Nice.
Nexuses and Pixels have always been fish.
I kind of like the
Yeah.
font you wrote in.
Yeah. What is that?
It's like
How did
tall. It's
Yeah,
like
like-
short and tall at the same time.
It's David Sands.
I was
Nice.
Sans David.
Yeah.
That's funny because it kind of sounds like David's hands, which wrote the text. Anyway,
Wow. But if you type it, then it's not my hands.
sure.
Interesting.
Then it's
Okay.
David's hands.
David's keys.
What year did Apple announce iCloud?
And we're calling it iCloud.
iCloud.
With iCloud, you can get clouds in your eyes.
Isn't that just
Oh,
crying?
I almost wrote sailfish again.
You almost wrote the wrong answer.
Looking for a year. I'll do closest delta.
Oh.
Without going over?
No.
No?
Closest delta without going over.
Flip and read. What do we got?
I wrote 2010.
2010,
I wrote 2008.
2008, Marquez.
I wrote 2005.
Was it 2009?
2005.
Was it 2009?
The correct answer was 2011. David gets the
Oh.
point.
Let's go. Did they announce it with iOS 5? Well, because that's when they... Because that's when they added... iMessage got added in 2011. So
Okay.
I'm wondering if like iMessage only became possible because of iCloud.
It was announced at Dub 2011 during the keynote.
I'm pretty sure
if
that's
that was
when-
around the same time.
Yeah,
then
that's when
maybe-
they announced iOS 5.
Okay, fun.
Did they have cloud storage before iCloud? Like under a different name?
Yeah, the dinosaurs had cloud storage. But they stored them in actual clouds.
Oh, mobile me. Dang it.
Mobile me?
Anyway, okay. That's it for this week's episode. Let us know again if you have a Pixel 4a. We're really curious. We really want to know.
Hope you're not listening on it.
Yeah, hopefully you're not like actively charging it. But
In your pocket.
thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you very soon in the next one. Peace.
Goodbye.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Roven. We're partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our introduction music was Vane Stone. And stick around because one day, all 5 of us will actually be here.
If the quarterback throws the ball
Yeah.
and it doesn't get caught and it hits the ground,
It just
incomplete.
restarts, yeah.
If the quarterback throws the ball and the other team catches it before it hits the ground, interception.
Okay, yeah. I knew
If
that one.
somebody who's not the quarterback starts running and
Even the
drops the
quarterback.
ball,
Even the quarterback running, that's what he did right there.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
if somebody drops the ball, then the other team
Can pick it up.
up,
Oh,
fumble, recovery, can go run.
interesting.